Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. Yu's Reviews. As award season is closing in, I wanted to recommend a few films that have either gotten a lot of awards buzz or are just some films from the past few months that I really want to talk about. So here we go. The first film I want to talk about is Nomadland, directed by Chloe Zhao and starring Frances McDormand as Fern, who is a modern-day nomad in the American West. She's van dwelling and trying to find jobs in certain places. And where this film really shines is with its cinematography. There are a lot of shots of, beautiful sunrises, sunsets, or just the environment that these nomads live in. And Zhao's directing has a documentary style feel to it that I really liked because there's a lot of real life nomads in this film telling their stories to the audience. So the audience gets a feel of how it is to really be a nomad. And Frances McDormand is just natural in this film. She blends in with the cast perfectly. This is one that I recommend. It's getting a lot of awards buzz, and it can be watched in theaters or on Hulu. The next film I want to talk about is Judas and the Black Messiah, directed by Shaka King and starring Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, and Jesse Plemons. And it follows Bill O'Neill, who needs to infiltrate the Illinois Black Panther Party and get close to its leader, Fred Hampton, played by Daniel Kaluuya. And by far, this is Kaluuya's best performance I've seen from him. He realizes Fred Hampton so well through the way he speaks, how he kind of preaches his thoughts. You really see the power that Fred Hampton had in his time. And Lakeith Stanfield as Bill O'Neill and Jesse Plemons as Agent Roy Mitchell were both also just delights to see because I love seeing these actors in the past few years. They've really grown, and I've just seen a lot from them every once in a while. They keep popping up in movies, so they've become favorites of mine. And another aspect that is strong in this film is its screenplay with its themes of power and betrayal. Overall, it's just a powerful film, and this one can be seen in theaters or on HBO Max for a limited time. Another film I want to talk about is Trial of the Chicago 7, directed and written by Aaron Sorkin. And this film follows, the true story of a group of protesters, the Chicago 7, who protested the Vietnam War. And as the trial scenes play out, you actually see what really happened. What is the reason, this trial is going on? And in that sense, the pacing of the film was fantastically done, in my opinion. You just go with the flow of the film. And I gotta start with Aaron Sorkin and his screenplay. His screenplay for The Social Network is celebrated among film buffs. And he has a way of writing dialogue for scenes that would otherwise be boring, but instead they feel like action scenes. One dialogue here, one dialogue there. It's very quick and snappy, and it works for this film. So Aaron Sorkin and his screenplay for this film and even his past films were all very captivating. And the cast of this film, featuring Eddie Redmayne, Mark Rylance, Sacha Baron Cohen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and even more, all gave great performances. And this is a film that can be watched on Netflix now, and I really recommend this one because it reflects even today in many different ways, and it shows how history can repeat itself, maybe not exactly, but themes over time can just pass on to the future generations, if you know what I mean. So this one's on Netflix. Continuing, I want to talk about One Night in Miami, directed by Regina King, and this film tells a fictional account of when boxer Muhammad Ali, civil rights leader Malcolm X, singer Sam Cooke, and football player Jim Brown were all together in the same room and just talked about issues, during their time. And in that sense, I thought that the script it had such an interesting concept, seeing how these four leaders in their own sense, interact. And with these two, you would be wondering, would these two be maybe against each other? Would one have the other's back? They especially focus on, have each one of them done enough for civil rights? That's what especially Malcolm X focuses on, when he talks to maybe, let's say, Sam Cooke, that's where maybe conflicts begin. And overall, as I say again, very interesting concept, directed well by Regina King, and all the actors realized these real life leaders, as you just imagine reading about them in your history class. And this one can be watched on Prime Video. Furthermore, I want to talk about Mank, starring Gary Oldman, and this is directed by one of my favorite directors, David Fincher. It follows the true story of Herman J. Mankiewicz as he was writing the film Citizen Kane. And Citizen Kane is a movie that many critics consider to be the greatest of all time even. So, the movie making aspect of this film caught my attention, especially because it's about the making of a classic movie. And where this film really, shows its true form, in my opinion, is through the imitation of the 1930s, 1940s classic films. This movie is in black and white. The sound design sounds like a film from, that era, and all the actors act like they were acting in a movie made in that era. So it's a nice imitation of that time period. So David Fincher did a phenomenal job directing this, because it's kind of hard to imitate a past movie. You have to kind of work backwards a little bit, but David Fincher did a great job with that. And the whole cast, including Gary Oldman, Lily Collins, and Amanda Seyfried, gave really awesome performances, especially Oldman, as he plays a writer who is going through writer's block. So he really portrayed that well in this film. So this is one that you can watch on Netflix right now. And finally, I would like to talk about Malcolm and Marie, directed by Sam Levinson and starring John David Washington and Zendaya. This film follows a director and his girlfriend coming home the night of the director's first movie premiere. He just premiered his first movie, and the relationship is tested in many ways, either because of events that occurred the night of that you hear them talk about, or they bring up things from the past. And a lot of the movie is just them arguing and being honest with each other. And this film is great because of its acting and screenplay. Both John David Washington and Zendaya give the best performances of their careers, in my opinion, hands down. And the screenplay, the dialogue was really rich, in my opinion, because, although they are arguing with each other throughout the film, you get a sense that instead of, their conversations, instead of it weakening their relationship, it's getting stronger in reality because they're being honest with each other. That's what I got from the film. And I loved, the tones of the film. It was dramatic in certain aspects, but then there might have been just a little bit of comedy. But overall, it was just kind of noir, melancholic. And that has to do with the screenplay and directing by Sam Levinson. And of course, as I say again, Washington and Zendaya give phenomenal performances. this is another one that can be viewed on Netflix. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, don't forget your popcorn. Until next time, from Mr. U to you, stay tuned.